So you'll never guess the accuracy of my words because it's so hard to predict what these little monkey wannabes wish they could evolve into monkey motherfuckers are up to. Literally, they want my blood. I go to the hospital, I go to the doctors to get medication because I need medication to forget about the doctors and the drama and the terror they cause me and the seizures they cause me to have and all this shit. Fucking. So we're already being forced to do something we don't want by this terror system brought to you by the Christian, Satanist, atheist, gray skins with black hair who look like ugly, deformed mutant transsexuals and their little robot clone minions that they brought to destroy all of our nations. Fucking. And so, anyway, so I go there to get drugs to help erase my. As they know, since a child, I need drugs because I don't like them because they're low IQ, useless, disgusting trash who are saying a bunch of ignorant pedophile shits. Since I was born, they performed their Christian pedophile ritual on me. And I could see through every fucking word coming out the drool, sliming out their fucking mouths since I was born because I was born more intelligent than their entire families combined will ever be the very day I was born. By the time I was in school, I was past everyone out of school. Fucking. So, this is this is like terror having to be born intelligent on a land full of sub-monkey motherfuckers. And so, what have I been telling you? They're vampires, and they're telling you everything they're doing. They're telling you about the slippery slope to homosexualism, and the Christians are the people who legalize it and are in the closet about it. They're telling you about the slippery slope to fucking pedophilia, and it's because they're on these slippery slopes. It's because they're at the bottom of the slope waiting to catch the fucking fallen skiers and fucking suck their blood. They're telling you, don't open the door for the vampire. Well, who are the people fucking knocking on your doors? It's them. It's Bible people and people selling other scams. They know all about it because it's them knocking on the door trying to get their foot in your fucking, literally. The only people knocking on your door are them. That's the only vampire there is. The people standing on the fucking corners, fucking jumping in front of your car, trying to get you to stop. The people standing in fucking front of the stores, trying to prey upon you with their hard, stale-ass, overpriced Girl Scout cookies so they can raise money so they can send the girls and boys over to invade Africa for them and shit and train them to be soldiers and shit. Fucking invade the Middle East and invade Australia and invade everywhere else. It's them. They are the vampires. That's why they know all about don't let the vampire in. But could you imagine, literally, the first thing they want me to do is to take my fucking blood. They want my fucking blood. Do you know, I'm already putting $1 trillion hour service charge for my time. My blood is more expensive than my time, and I'm supposed to pay them to take my blood. I'm supposed to pay trash I want to see genocided and exterminated from the planet to draw my blood so they can have my blood. What? See, you guys are some filth creating nations like this. And if this planet goes up in this planet doesn't get hit with planet-sized meteorite storms, just billions of planet-sized meteorites falling into it, there's no fucking hope for this place, because it's not just America. America needs to get hit with one of those planet-sized meteorites for sure. And then you can delude yourself that the other people aren't working with them. And they sure the fuck are, because America is Babylon. It's every fucking nation working together trying to blame someone else for everything they're up to on the fucking planet. That's all it is and shit. It's not they infighting and this and that. And they against each other. They've been working together since at least the Cold War and shit. But clearly, they're from Middle Earth. They're working with Middle Earth because they are Middle Earth. Fucking. That's the first thing they want to do is draw my blood. And this is the filth I've been born and raised around since I was a kid. This is the trash whore, AIDS infested, 500-pound walrusaurus motherfuckers I was forced to be around since I was a kid, doing the same thing. Their genetic code equal to that of a toaster, less complex than a modern toaster. We're talking about a toaster made back in 1920 when they were first invented. Fucking doing the same shit it always does. Up today, there's a reason why they create a cartoon meme of themselves where they're like, and then it creates a really ugly, deformed rat caricature. So you can't actually see that if you just tone it down a little bit, it looks exactly like them. Again, the vampire is telling you about the slippery slope because the vampire is the slippery slope. Fucking man, this is crazy. They want my blood so they can, and they got an excuse for it. They want to test me because I could be dying. And if I die, then I can't be their slave no more. If I die, then they can't force me to go over there and steal my money and blood from me anymore because there won't be any more blood to steal from me. I think they're little vampires drinking the fucking blood. That's what, they're clones. So think about it. What would clones possibly need to live? Because you can't recreate a real living being. Maybe they can't actually create their own blood, and that's why the Hebes have to create hospitals, is because they have to refill themselves with our stolen blood every day. Maybe that's why they got their blood drives and shit. But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter what's going on. What's going on is how I feel about me and my freedom to be me and not have to deal with this terror America or any nation that any of these people who are creating this place fucking come from ever, 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 ever again. So I don't want to see them. I don't want to retain the memory that I ever had to see any of them or talk to them. I mean, obviously talk to them, right? Because seeing them is going to be the root cause here. Fucking remembering that I once seen them is the root fucking cause here and shit. Fucking, but could you imagine? I go over there to the good old Christian, satanic, atheist fucking Einstein hospital place to get drugs because after 30 years of them drugging me to force me to be around them because I'm not a homosexual like them and I don't like them and I don't want to fuck you, daddy. You're a disgusting pig and you're fucking, oh, you're a woman. I doubt that because you look like a man type shit because 40 years of dealing with that. No. You gotta be on drugs to erase the memory of that. At first it was just like, no. It was like, no, you're a terrorist. You probably should be killed. Oh, that's right. Terrorists are an organization. They're organized. You can't kill them so easily. You gotta figure out ways to do it. Oh, there's so many of them. You can't do anything about it. So all you can do is erase the memory of them. Which is what they're trying to do from the start because they know you don't want them around. And they know that they don't want themselves and their own families around, so they need you around. Because they know they're trash and they don't want to hang out with themselves, their own families, because they're trash. So they've got all that shit set up. That's why they come from Middle Earth, because they don't want to date themselves and talk to themselves and be around their own families and people, because they're fucking disgusting. They're sick. And so it spreads. The plague finally spreads to the last corner, the last piece of land on the planet, and they're trying to spread the plague to Mars, too, which is probably fake, and if it's not, it's aliens enslaving the planet who aren't going to let you leave in the first place, and they're just stealing your money and another. It's stealing. Going to go to heaven. Give Einstein all your money. You're going to go to heaven eventually. Oh, and then you'll have eternal life, too. You'll have a robot body, and you'll go to space heaven. Ah! Fucking retards. Fucking damn terrorists. It's not retards. Retards are smarter than them. They're fucking easy to see terrorists. You don't know what a retard's gonna do next. You know everything they're gonna do from the second you open your eyes and you see them fucking skitter across the floor and shit. You know everything they're gonna do to the last breath of their life. Fucking, once they skitter, you're like, oh, it's gonna keep skittering. That's what it does. Fucking. They want to draw my blood. Oh, and it's highly possible it's to draw my blood because they poisoned me with fucking military grade poison that it's finally doing its job, and now they want to make money off that. Okay, so the most likely thing is when they started drugging me when I was 8 would be why I started having heart problems when I was 30. Because I'm not a junkie like they are, who've been my dad and mom. Well, yeah, I guess my mom is the junkie who fed me meth. Fucking, but, well, thankfully I got away from that person and I had a good parent somewhere else. But, fucking. But then, their people, they grow up loving being junkies and meth heads and shit. They love that shit. So they're that way when they're 12 out on the streets running around. And it's like, damn. So I think that would be the most likely cause for why I started having heart problems. Not to only mention that it was when I woke up with the one who works with Donald Trump when it first started. And my first thought was, damn, this bitch just poisoned me and shit. So, seems kind of likely that that would be the answer, you know, fucking. But combine that, so the first two things would be they're the ones who cause it. They're the ones forcing me to buy drugs and take drugs. And then I get a problem later in life that would happen from taking those drugs. Because those drugs are for crackheads only, but they're not crackhead if you pay a Jew a bunch of money to get it. You're not a crackhead. Oh, well, that's right. They're not Jews now. They're Christians and they're atheists. And they're transsexuals. And they're Einstein. And then they're Hollywood stars. What they aren't is silent and shutting the fuck up because their lips haven't been sewn shut. And that's because many of you are too lazy to learn how to sew. I've got a sewing machine over here. I'm sure I can fit some lips under it. So I'm good with that. I'm prepared for the future. Here, fucking. Anyways, so yeah, there we go. Literally. How is it? I'm telling you, vampires warning you. The vampire's at the door. Don't answer the door for the vampire. Fucking. Don't let the vampire get the foot in the door. Fucking. And how this vampire gets foot in the door, they offered me some money to go over there. That's how that happened after 5 years. Oh yeah, that's right. In the last 5 years, they forced me. It's been pretty much nothing but force the last 5 years. Anytime I've had to go there, they've been together. This whole terrorist Columbus, Ohio, USA, freedom place, band together, many of them, to force me into their little system several times and shit. And I just want my chance to force them to do one thing. Each of them, I get to choose the one thing I get to force them to do. And the problem will disappear. The problems they're causing would disappear from the earth completely, forever. I will choose one specific thing that no matter how hard they try, that they can't glue Humpty Dumpty back together fucking again. I just want my one time. They got their 100,000 million times. I want my one time to be able to do whatever I want to each of these motherfuckers. I've got a great mate, and we can turn it into a fun carnival too. We can turn it into fun. You can bring your children. Well, you probably shouldn't. You can bring anyone, unless your child's been raped by them or something. Your children will love this carnival fucking. It'll be a fun carnival and shit. We can turn it. We can make many games. You know, if you don't want to play one game, if you don't want to participate, don't worry. We've got 10 other games for you to play and shit. All brought to you, really unoriginal ideas, brought to you by events that have occurred with them, fucking personally, and it can be for science too. You know, some of these things, like I personally think you could probably replace the human bloodstream with drugs. So do they, right? That's why they're in control of the drug cartel globally. But I think you could possibly make a superior person. You just take that blood out and you put a pure liquid methamphetamine in there, and it'd probably be like, you've got to be careful. Put that in a really tight cage. Just, you know, because they're going to get out of hand if this works. But, you know, there's all sorts of fun little carnival games we can play. And we can learn from these games, too. We can get educated. Meanwhile, we're not getting educated from this other shit. You know, they drug you 60 years ago, and they just move on to the new profitable drug once a generic's created. They're not learning anything from it. Fucking, but yeah, this is what you deal with here on this planet. You're forced to date people you don't like. You're forced to have friends who are threatening to kill you if they aren't your friend. And yeah, obviously your parents do the same thing, but that's okay because the Bible says so, isn't it? Oh, it's okay because some rich pedophile, ugly, disgusting Middle Earther, the Pope, said so. Who goes around raping and killing everyone. There's people went around raping and killing everyone on the planet for 6,000 years. Said so. Fucking. Oh, I say, yes, Lord pedophile. Fucking. But can you imagine? Literally, I'm telling you, there's something wrong. These things aren't living beings. They're fucking walking toasters. Because they're just so they're like a night. They're not even toasters. You know, that's so insultive to a modern toaster. Fucking, I think my toaster in there is starting to get all. It's starting to cry and not like me because I'm insulting. It sounds like I'm insulting toasters, but it's like you're not from the 1920s, bro. You've grown up and shit. Fucking. But it's how do I know this? How do I know? How do I be like, oh, they're blood-sucking vampires? And then the first thing they need to do is draw my blood so they can see. But they want to draw it to laugh at it? Be like, look, our poison's worked. He's dying and shit. They want to know. I'd like to know, but not from them, not from paying them or going to them. I'd like to know what's going on in my body, but not from the people who've been feeding me poison my whole life. Fucking. Yeah, the point of them is to do what I say. They say that's weird. I'm forced to work, live 45 fucking years. So I can go over there and give them my money so they can tell me what to do. They already told me what to do for 45 fucking years. To be alive, to go work for them. When does this switch where they go to work for me? When does this switch around? 45 fucking years ago to work for them so they can have their fancy cars and mansions and shit. I seen them online complaining the other day. It was like, this is what the rich this is what politicians who make $230,000 a year live in, and these are the small poor mansions that doctors who make $230,000 a year live in. Oh, my poor doctors, those poor rich people. How many times have I said that that's their scheme too and shit? And now Alex Jones, he's only a millionaire. Millionaires are poor these days. That's the lower class. You're literally like rich if you make fucking $70,000 a year and shit. I don't want to hear it. They're just fucking whining and crying. That's how they get rich. Is they go, I got no. how these homeless people live in hotels and have maids cleaning their house and get their food delivered to them and shit. They're not actually poor. You can't afford that. I can't afford that. They do $1,000 worth of drugs a day. No one can afford that. And then they get a hotel. The whole fucking. It's almost like if someone's talking, they're trying to scam you. Maybe it's an American thing. I couldn't understand the language in other places, thankfully, so I didn't know what people were saying. But it looked a little bit different. Kind of, maybe not. Weird things happen. But, yeah, isn't that weird? The first thing they want is my blood. I don't even go, I'm not even going over here to donate blood. I'm going over here to set up with a doctor to maybe get some of the medicine that they forced me on when I was 8 years old. So, again, we're talking about questions I was asking when I was born, and now, the big bad wolf just keeps blowing his hot air, and we got 40 years of dumb, ignorant shit being spoken of, and I'm just talking about what happened in 1985 still. I'm like, yeah, let's start back in 1985 and go from there. And they're like, no, we got some new scam to sell you today. We got a new program today. Yeah. Hey, we had a new program yesterday, we'll have a new program tomorrow. And we're just going to ignore that you talked about 1986 and 1996 and 2020 and 2010 and 2014. We're just going to ignore most of that, if not all of it. We're just going to ignore it there. And we're going to do new things. We're not doing new things. We're going to fix the old problems, or we're not going to do nothing at all. That's the thing here. That's a thing you can't let these con men talk to you about. Donald Trump, he's got a new con. He's golfing. He's wasting his time golfing. Oh, Barack Obama's wasting his time golfing. Who cares? Ronald Reagan was wasting his time doing fucking nothing. Why aren't we asking why he's sitting doing nothing? Bill Clinton was wasting his time playing the saxophone, and he couldn't even play it, so what was he really doing it? That was long before that. How come we don't have the answers to those questions and we move on to the new stupid question? Move on to the new level of stupid. Man, they want my blood. And they want my blood because for some reason, you can tell by how paranoid these network toasters act. They think that there might be something wrong inside my body. They caused it, right? They're the ones who strung me out on amphetamines when I was a child, knowing what that does. I'm sure that was the target, not just because I don't want to have sex with daddy when I'm 8 years old, but I'm sure it's also because that they're trying to kill people who are being advanced up 4 grades, because people who are fucking born knowing everything fucking can see exactly who the fuck they are, and they need to stop them and shit. I'm sure it's got something to do with that, fucking more than anything. So, but again, they forced me to buy drugs from them when I was 8 years old. Every fucking day I had to buy drugs from them. And fucking forced me to pay them to allow me to buy drugs from them when I was 8. And now, because of problems they caused when I was 8, they want to force me to pay them to act like they're going to sell me more drugs and shit to set at bay problems they caused when 40 fucking years ago, over 40 years, probably most years in between those 40 years, fucking. So you're telling me that The little Christo, Satanist, atheist hospitals aren't a scam? You tell me that's not the world's largest drug cartel? You're telling me a crackhead on the street selling you crack isn't a better drug dealer that you would rather talk to and associate with than an organized cartel who does shit? I've never met a crack dealer on the street who's trying to kill you and shit when you're 8 years old so they can later try to remove your organs and charge you $200,000 for a new organ when you're 40. Fucking, I never met a crackhead. So these people are sub crackheads. How do they get their mansions and Lamborghinis and shit if they're less than crackheads? How does the lowest scum rise to the fucking top and shit like that? How does that happen? It would have to be a total scum society in order to praise scum for scum to get to the top, because it's not science. They're not simple chemical mixtures. It's organized people doing things. It's like Elvis Presley. How did he get to the top for shaking his dick on stage? Well, a bunch of fucking sluts was like, oh my God, it's so hot, that man's shaking his dick. And then they're like, how can I get money for tickets? I'm gonna go get a man to marry me so he can give me money so I can go see Elvis shake his dick on stage and shit, you know? And then the scum rises to the top. Fucking probably how that happens, huh? Probably. That's a fact there your mother ain't gonna tell you, and she definitely ain't gonna tell her husband neither, but she ain't gonna tell you because she's grooming you. Fucking. She's grooming you to do the same thing for the next one. Fucking. And for herself. For herself, she don't even want the next one to come around. She thinks somehow it's gonna happen for her. Fucking. That's probably how that happens and shit. Fucking. Along with the media forcing you to hear the shit. You go in the store, you turn on the radio, you're forced to hear the shit. Fucking. That's the way I know every band in America. Anyways, is that stuff. Anyway, so can you imagine? Right, they want literally, I'm not making this up. You think I'm making shit up, and I'm just fucking telling you what I see and what is the most logical. 1 plus 1, simple mathematics. We're not even talking about third grade multiplication and division and none of this shit. The only thing we ever talk about beyond that is probably 5th grade percentages and shit, which is just really multiplication and division with a fancy little name on it. Fucking. And wow. Wow. Literally want to draw my blood. Want to draw my blood. And I don't want people drawn. I don't really want to associate with these people any more than I have to. Like I said, I got baited. I let the vampire put the foot in the door. That's on me because they're giving me money and shit for, getting your health checkup and shit, Just like any drug dealer, it will give you a free bump to get you to know their product. Most of them, not those drugs, not. See, once you evolve, once your terrorist unit kills the government of a nation, you now become the government because you're not the terrorist organization now. You're the leaders of the nation. And once a drug dealer kills off all the doctors and takes over and starts to sell stuff out of the hospitals, they're no longer a drug dealer. They're a doctor. And they can change their methods, Obviously, a terrorist organization has to live infidel and use insurgent tactics in order to become the government. Because they're not going to become the government by just going up in there and saying, hey, meanies, you guys are so mean. You just get out of the country now and give up all your mansions and your Lamborghinis and your cocaine and your White House and all that stuff. Yeah, meanies. And then the meanies in the government are like, been caught. We gotta go. Here's the keys to my Lamborghini. I'm gonna walk to Mexico. Oh, that's not how that shit works. And then they're not up there like, oh, well, we better treat them so nice. We've got all these tanks and these nuclear missiles and and they've got pistols and assault rifles. And I'm so scared they're gonna do something to us. Oh my God. And we've got billions of soldiers across the world and they've got uh, 10,000 people organized. Oh, I'm so scared. I failed math. I don't know what that means. It's not how it works. Once they, apparently it's like the greed thing, just like, if you put your hands around someone else's neck and you squeeze until they can't breathe and then you let go, that person is going to do whatever for you from there on. Now they're your worker. You can stop mopping your floor and cooking your food, and they'll start mopping your floor and cooking your food. And then you get the idea, if you do that to someone else, and they can go buy the food for you and go buy the cleaning supplies not for you, for the other guy. And then you learn, if you do that to a third person, apparently these are the ways to make money. You only got 80 years. You got to figure out how to make money really fucking fast here, especially if you're stupid and you can't invent things. And then if you aren't stupid, I think you might learn that they might have a monopoly on invention anyways, and they might be withholding inventions purposely to make these systems happen. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I'd rather. This costs someone, not me, as I'm not a sucker. It cost me a lot of time in my life to get, but this cost me nothing, right? But on paper, I'm sure this is like $80 for what, 30 pills? Yeah, so it's 30 pills, and all it is really like alcohol and a pill and shit, which is why I don't take it. Unless I want to sleep. Probably should take some right now, but I'm about to take some slave medicine that I got I got the slave medicine, that they don't have here. I got that shit. I got like 2 years supply for like $500, but a 2 years supply of this will run me like $8,000, $12,000. And, Fuck. See what I'm saying? And I used to be able to. You can go to other nations and get shit cheaper too. Like UK sells Oxy legally over the counter, and Mexico sells Tramadol legally over the counter. So when I was in Mexico and stuff, I was buying Tramadol and eating it like ibuprofen and shit, every couple hours. I don't even know if it was real Tramadol, because it didn't give me the Tramadol headache, the serotonin sickness headache, which is weird, because Tramadol would do that the first pill, let alone several bottles. And anyways, yeah, so I go over there and I didn't even really want this. I was like, yeah, that shit don't work. I had this listed as I'm allergic to it because it makes me feel like shit. Like I'm really fucking drunk and it makes me pass out. But it works if that's, if the only solution to your problem is going to sleep. The only solution to forgetting this fucking world or what's going on it is going to sleep. Then it works. But back in the day, I considered I'm allergic to that shit because it makes me feel like shit. Fucking, but that's what you get there. Fucking, but they want my blood. Anyways, the point is they want my blood. How accurate is that? That they have that system, and it makes me wonder, especially because they lined it up with a blood drive. Like when they threw into my feed that they're really obsessed with wanting blood after that. Like, donate plasma and shit. And and so how do these clones work and shit? Do they need like real people's blood to like keep them going or some shit? We've never taken apart many people. I noticed the one I had photos of didn't have a lot of blood coming out then, and it looked like the flies on the body were the one fly on the body didn't attract a lot. It only attracted one. Fucking looked like it might be starving, and it's kind of weird to have a hole in a person and no blood coming out of it. I've never seen such an incident occur. So, I'm still on the fence where you've got to dissect these people and figure out if they actually have the same anatomy as living beings and shit. I'm really on that, but let's move on with everyone's idea that everything is exactly the same on the planet. And even though they're selling stories telling you they're recreating the creation. Um, let's go on with that and assume, well, the reason the clones exist is because they're going to be fed that, or they're drinking the blood, right? I mean, didn't they say when they chop off baby wieners, they put it in makeup and Pepsi Cola and stuff? I mean, so it's not even like. And then every church Sunday, every Sunday yesterday, you go and you drink blood and eat flesh. So, there's obviously a huge obsession with that, too. That's weird. You go there, and the first thing they want is to draw your blood. And it's like, well, I'm not here to get my blood drawn, really. I'm here to meet the doctor eventually that I signed up to meet, which I didn't actually meet, which makes me very uncomfortable because that will decide whether I come back to this place. See, that's the whole point of me even going there once, is to meet the doctor and decide if I will ever come back to this place. Because if the doctor looks like a specific person if the doctor looks like any of these people who have caused me problems in the past, I'm not going to be able to go around them again because they're going to remind me of people who have kidnapped, raped, drugged me, enslaved me, tried to kill me, etc. So we have this thing in our life where when we see someone who looks like someone who's tried to kill us or something before, then we see that person in that person. It's like, oh my God, are you sure you're not that person? I have to ask that sometimes to some people. And, well, there's just a problem, the experience in life, where when someone looks like someone you don't like, then they're someone you don't like. And it doesn't matter who they really are if they're really someone else. What matters is that they look every time you see them, they're going to remind you of that time that someone stabbed you, someone raped you, someone drugged you, someone kidnapped you, someone tried to kill you, whatever. Obviously tried to kill you because you're not dead yet, so they haven't killed you. Um, so that's the entire purpose of me going over to this place, was to meet this doctor. Like I'm in investigation mode my whole life, but especially since 2015. The only reason for human interaction is when I investigate them, and if they force an interaction on me, then I'm going to investigate the purpose of this and shit. Generally, my investigations are over, but I decided, well, they keep telling me every day, every month, every week, fucking go get your drugs in your hospitals and shit. And I'm like, yeah, that could make me feel a lot better if I get some drugs to forget about all these times I was drugged and shit. How it does make me feel better. The amazing thing about Jeffrey Epstein kidnapping those girls and pumping them full of heroin so they'd feel good while they're having sex with the people he sold them to is that when he gives them the heroin, they feel better about it. Right? That's the amazing thing about drugs and how drugs work. As if you don't like being given drugs, if the drugs are actually good, like heroin, fucking, they'll give you the drugs and you'll feel better about the drugs you didn't want to take once you learn that they're great, amazing drugs. That's how I learned about opium. I had this fake surgery up in my head that I don't think I needed now because nothing changed. Um, yeah, the blood didn't stop coming out after that. And that was the point of the surgery was, hey, I'm bleeding. What's wrong? And they're like, you can't breathe. And I'm like, well, but I can breathe. Let's do the surgery. And then I kept bleeding afterwards. But I could breathe, different but I think that's because my tissues were resurfaced and new nerve endings were revealed. I could smell better, which was not a good thing at first. Maybe never again. Maybe for a long time. Anyway, so point in, that's another fucking time that it seems like we just forced on drugs and shit. And because of that, I was pumped full of drugs because I was like passed out for like 6 days. And the one time I woke up, I was in a hell of a lot of pain. But I actually think that was the drugs that caused the pain because I soon learned that the drugs I was on were causing pain when they wore off and shit. So that's when I learned about how great that is and how much I can eat that stuff. And then I get fucking some crippled shit. So, but then they take that shit from you. You know, that happens every 4 or 6 years. They take that from you and they got a new bill to sell you. Because the generics come out and now they aren't charging you $120 for 30 grams of nothing. Fucking 4 milligrams. Oh, technically, yeah, I mean, technically these are what, like 30, 60 gram pills. And there's only 4 milligrams of active ingredient in there. So I'd be wrong if I compared that the way I did. This $120 versus a $11,000 year subscription, 2-year subscription versus a $500 stuff I could get not from them for a 2-year subscription. Well, we actually take this for 4 tons 30. How long? I don't even know how long this is supposed to last. See, for me, this is going to last like a year, because, but I don't. One a day. Okay, so one a day. That's a 4 milligram times 30 times 12. Let's just do the 4 times 12 first, and then add the 3, right? And so we got 40, 52, right? 56, and 56, is that right? Why did I think that? I done lost count, but I can do math without fucking knowing what I'm doing. And then 56 times 3 is, 168. And so that 1680, 1,680. That's 1 gram, 680 milligrams. So for a year, this would cost me, this would cost a person, and this is excluding the money spent. So we're excluding insurance. That's going to take money itself. So we're excluding that. And that's going to take time, which is money too. And we're excluding the money spent to go get it and the time spent to go get it, which is also money. And so that would be the equivalent of something, let's just throw it out there in the park, something I would pay $100 for. Let's just say I'm paying $100 for 1,000 grams of some shit. Or for 1 gram, 1,000 milligrams of some shit. 1 gram, $100 for 1 gram. So when you think about it, that's an expensive drug itself. But we're saying that that's extremely undercutting the cost in this shit. It's extremely undercutting the time too, because I'm just like, hey, give it to me, and they're like, here it is, and I'm like, see you later, and they're like, yeah, you want to hang out, and I'm like, okay or no okay, fucking Most of the time, people aren't asking if you want to hang out either. Fucking. So, I got that. And the other shit in there, I know for a fact, like it's sold over the counter. So, I'm pretty sure it's a little more expensive. I'm not gonna pay for it because I already got a bunch of shit supplements I don't use. I was gonna buy some, but I was actually putting it off for the, years ago. I was like, the day I go back to the hospital and the doctor treats me like I'm a 12-year-old and not a 2-year-old, then I'll get them to give me some more of that. And then this doctor magically, he treated me like maybe 16. There wasn't a doctor, it was a nurse. I didn't get to meet the doctor. The whole point of going was to meet the doctor, but it turns into the nurse wanting my blood. And see these patterns look suspect when I see when you make plans and you do things in life, or when you say anything, when you watch a person walk, when you watch a person talk to someone else, you can extract data from them. When you watch what someone does, you can extract data from what they're up to and shit. It's hard to extract why they act all weird and nervous, like they need to test my blood now, or else they won't be able to charge me for drawing my blood in the future, or there won't be no more blood to draw and drink in the future. Fucking. And the weird thing is that I don't line up with their little lies of their story about creationism. Fucking. Where I have nothing wrong with me because there is no me and there is no body and there can't be anything wrong with me. Odd way to milk it. I go into a institution often named after religion, and did the AI say it was created by religion? It's government institution, so it's, and the government's the religion, so there you go. I forget what AI said, but AI usually gave me some information on when these things were created, which I could just look up myself. It's pretty much I'm asking Google, and Google has the AI like list some shit. Fucking, or I could go to the library and read 10,000 books looking for one piece of information, and maybe I find it, maybe I don't. Fucking. Yeah, but could you imagine they just wanted to draw my blood? That was like, I didn't even get to meet the doctor, and that's really the whole point, because I wasn't really expecting any of these medications. Like supposedly people love to get high off this muscle relaxer crap. I don't know. I didn't used to understand it. I understand it now. Fucking, those are people who don't want to be alive anymore, most likely. So they take drugs that put them to sleep, and that's the best alternative other than death. So I think I've got the downer people figured out at this point in time. You have to live through things in order to understand them completely. You can hear it. You can hear me tell you shit. You can hear me talk about. You can hear me say shit. You can watch me point out stuff, just as I have done with other people my whole life. But what you can't do is teach me what that means. You can't teach me how it feels and what it means. I have to, and how to understand it. You have to feel it. You almost always have to feel a lot of these things in order to understand them completely. And I didn't understand this for a while. I was like, stupid drugs. And now I'm like, if I take this, I go to Dreamy Dreamland. Yeah. It's a muscle relaxer. And it's a brain relaxer. It relaxes the brain to sleep. Fucking, just like anti-pain medicine. It's like, is there really medicine that targets pain? I don't know what those things are doing exactly, but I never got the idea that these were relaxing my muscles, because I don't know. I think my muscles were never quite soft, so wasn't like, I don't think my muscles are like loosening up, and your joints would start clicking and clack. If your muscles actually like relax and loosen, your joints wouldn't hold together anymore and stuff. Your tendons would also have to loosen too, but you would notice it somewhat if your muscles actually relax and stop holding that firm shape that's required for you to walk and stuff. Because it can't walk if, just like a drunk can't walk, but a drunk can't walk because it's mine. So if you can't walk on this, it's probably because it feels like alcohol and shit in a pill. And it might be they know what they're selling, and for some reason they keep up with the line. And there are some people out there who talk about the truth, like I do. And there's governments out there who make regulations, and I argue that those people look the same often. They might be the same people, and they might just be playing opposition to each other. To I had weird shit happen when I was 14, and these days I suspect the people around me were involved with the government. I mean, I lived in a house that the DEA owned. Supposedly, my dad said that. People said my dad was known for lying, but I never fucking seen that. I think those were jealous people that my dad didn't give free money to. I think that might be what it is. That's weird. It kind of makes me think of those Bill Gates people he worked for. When now that I say words like that, and because I'm not saying those words, I understand that was highly probable happening. There might have been some lies, but there was definitely some money there, and there was definitely some people who wanted that money who weren't getting it. Fucking, and the lies were there was no money, and that was the zero. What do they call that in psychology? All or nothing statement. The all or nothing statement, this person owns nothing and has no money, was definitely a nothing statement, because I know when I worked for them in specific, or he took me to work with someone he worked with, that I got paid. So, and it looked like those people had money to pay him pretty good. You guys know some of these people. You guys wear their clothing, and famous people on TV. Some of them fucking, we go, fucking, and it's similar to me too. I'm 14 years old, and people are telling me I'm a bum because I don't have a job, and the reality of the month is I'm working these jobs. I'm the only kid my age working every now and then I'm working for the neighbor too, who I don't know what we're doing, but we're getting paid for it, so we're not asking questions and shit. Pretty sure I was supposed to be security and shit, but I get an idea of that he was just working for businesses. He was delivering the money that would then pay my dad, type shit, fucking, and something like that. I didn't ask questions. I'm fucking at 14. And I'm not being paid to ask questions. And then later, I know that. Later in life, when I'm 36, I started asking a new boss questions. And the boss is like, yeah, can you, like, shut up? And I'm like, no, but I know a lot about this. My dad used to work in these buildings 30 years ago before Mr. Mustard's and everything was shut down. This is my dad's business, literally, and everything you're talking about being involved in is my life business. And he's just like, shut up. He has a different opinion of me. I'm not this great worker who works, who gets the job done for him. Now I'm this nosy person, fucking, etc., etc. It should be basic common sense, fucking. Anyway, so, yeah, fucking all those stories combined. Putting all that shit together. The entire point of the fucking video was supposed to be, you imagine I go across the street to this new doctor, to meet the new doctor. That's all I expect really out of the thing, is to meet this doctor, and then I'm going to make a judgment of whether I want to be around this doctor or not. This is the entire point. This is an interview for the doctor. This is not me going to the doctor to beg and plead for anything. This is me interviewing the doctor to see if he wants to work for me. And that part didn't even happen. And so that part doesn't happen. And so what? So it's only me interviewing the nurse, right? And of course, the nurse thinks she's interviewing me. And it's like, the reality is, I'm paying your wages. I'm the boss here. I know people like to feel slimy in these, but the reality is, when you're paying someone, you're the boss. You're the boss. You're the boss. They can own the building. You know, slave plantation owners, they used to have the slaves living on the plantation in a little shack. And if you were one of the best slaves, you got to come inside. And then they got tired of that shit. And then they had the slaves go pay for their own houses far away. Okay? And this is very similar to this. Elon Musk doesn't live at SpaceX most days. He has a place he can go live at. And everyone, he's the boss. He goes away and then he comes to SpaceX and he's like, he goes to the manager of SpaceX. You're the manager of SpaceX when you go to the doctor, or when you go to any store. When you go to any store, if you're the consumer, you're technically the boss because you got the money. You are paying for this place to exist. The owner of the store is profiting off of you being there, right? You buy a Tesla, you're the boss of Elon Musk. You will decide whether he stays in business or not. And it just turns into the magical blood draw thing, which I don't want anything to do with. They want me to come back another time, and like, well, I'm already here right now, but I really don't want my blood drawn anyway, so there's kind of like a scare, a jump scare tactic out of nowhere. Like, do it now, buy now, we'll be out of blood draw later. And it's like, my plan wasn't to go back a second time either. So my plan is to go here, interview the doctor, see if I want to talk to him, and see if we can get some stuff done. And if any of those things don't check out, then we check out permanently, and we'll go, because there's 10 doctors there, 10 doctors there, 10 doctors there. Right across the street, we got a lot of doctors. I could just walk into 1/8 of the buildings across the street and be like, I'd like to interview your doctor, and which is what I was going to do, but they just kind of like randomly assigned me a new one. And that's my plan. That's my plan. I go there, I interview the doctor. If there's something off with it, then I will go to the next building instead of calling someone else and be like, who's in our fucking provider list. I go to the next building and I'll be like, can I see a list of your doctors and the pictures of them and their certification and diplomas and stuff like that, right? Because I'm interviewing the doctor. The doctor went to school for 24 years. He got a degree. He invented some fancy device over in England for healthcare. This is the doctor I am choosing. I've had this happen before. I know then, well, hey, you want to operate near my brain, then I think I'll let you do that because you sound like you are a good qualified candidate for this position. And now, if he didn't have things like that and he's talking about operating on my brain, I'd be like, you're fired. Fucking, because that's me. That's my money. I'm paying it. When I don't feel like I'm in charge when I go to a store, but I really am. When I go to the store, they can kick me out if I tell them they're scumbags and they're ripping people off and their food sucks or something like this. And fucking, all right. during the mask years, we did a lot of that. So it was mostly the mask thing. I was like, oh, shut up. Shut up. They're like, put on your mask or get out the store. It's like, shut up or get out the store. And they're like, it's our store. It's like, yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky that's a fact. But I'm the one paying your fucking wages. So um, you might find out where those facts lead. The fact that you own a building that no one wants to come to might be a little bit different than the fact you used to own a building that people wanted to go to. You can see how that works. It's just like a drug dealer, right? You're kind of in control of the drug dealer. If you don't go to the drug dealer's house and buy drugs from him, then he ain't gonna be dealing drugs for a while. Fucking, he ain't gonna have no money. He ain't gonna be able to re-up to buy some more drugs. Uh, but everyone turns that around, that they're so great and they're so in control. It's like a school. You're paying to go to school. You're a 6-year-old. Your parents are paying to go to school. You're paying with your blood and life to go to that school. You're going to kindergarten. The teacher ain't paying for that school. The teacher is getting paid by you to come to that school and teach. The, the masons who built the building, they're getting paid by you to build the building, right? They ain't getting paid by the teachers to build the building. Fucking the people install the water pipes, the sewage, and the toilets in the school system. They ain't getting paid by the teachers and the principal to install the toilets and the sewage system. Not at all. They're getting paid by you and your family. The teachers are throwing in like 10 cents, 20 cents. Your family is paying $2. And then Jimmy, your friend, all 30 people in that class is each paying $4. The teacher paid $1. Fucking. And so you look at it that way. Look at it that way, everything is yours. Fucking. I haven't quite begun to look at life that way. But there we go. We learn something new every video. Learn to look at life that way, that you own everything because you paid for everything. Fucking, and the other people who think they're in charge are people you're paying to monitor and organize some things for you and perform some services for you. And that's exactly what it is. That's why many of them call themselves services. It's supposed to be a healthcare service or something like that. Fucking, but then you change the word to professional or officer, to protect and serve. They're supposed to serve you, and then you change it to professional and politician, and then magically the servitude goes away. It's just like, it's exactly that movement of terrorists to government. Once a terrorist takes over government, they become the government, and you're not going to say anything because no one else has the power to defeat the government. No one else has any more power than them. So even if you didn't like them, and you did like the original government, well, now it doesn't matter because it's the government. You gotta like them. Fucking, and it's the whole putting people on pedestal things. I'm not sure if I was taught to do that, if I did that on my own, but I'm pretty sure I was taught to do that as a kid. That if someone puts on a suit, they're better than me. I'm sure that's the first reason I put on a suit. I mean, I used to think I actually did that because my dad did it. And I kind of thought maybe that's why he did it, because I was probably being taught that by people below him. But in his service industry, like, they want people to dress up like that, or else they're probably not going to hire you. But even him, he was in the service industry, and he managed some places. So they literally called. He's the place running this huge building. He's the person running this huge building, and he tells me he works in this. I look at the trucks that drive by and says Aramark Service Industry. I was like, oh, so you're running the service industry. Nice. Fucking excellent. Excellent there. Fucking, and he called, and one of his businesses was called Servers on, Servers something. server something, and that was like server. But I'm saying Aramark is not server necessarily. Aramark runs all that shit you see at the Arnold Expo, if Aramark's still in charge there. But that's considered a service industry, right? You see that Arnold Expo? Well, the Expo Center is taken care of by a service industry. And who's in charge there? Arnold and the bodybuilders, or Aramark, the service industry? Well, technically Aramark, but without Arnold, they wouldn't have anyone. That's why they got a statue of Arnold in front of the uh, the building there, because they know Arnold is probably the biggest reason anyone knows that place exists. The convention center exists. Fucking so technically Arnold is the boss when in the UFC, and because they got the UFC right across the street during that event, and and the other bodybuilders, because they're paying those people to rent out their space and to use their services. Technically, they're the boss, and they either get what they want or they go to another place. And man, so anyway, isn't that great? You can turn a fucking. I didn't even really get to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to meet this doctor, and find out if I'm going to continue talking to this doctor. I'm going to go across the street and look for a different doctor. Shopping for doctors, yeah, because sometimes they're assholes. Sometimes they're people who just want to pay off their mortgages and their Lamborghini, buy a new Lamborghini. Fucking, and that can happen, right? It happens in a lot of fields. And we didn't get that, but they want to draw my blood. And it was like, I'm getting the idea we're just not going to draw my blood, because I don't know what they do with my blood. And personally, I'd like to keep it. I use my own blood for my own services. So, and I notice a thing when I draw my own blood, like, it's a weird feeling. Like, are you like killing yourself when you do that? Are they lying to you about how it's safe to draw your blood from your body? Because I've drawn a lot of blood from my body, and it never really feels like nothing happened because of that. And something's keeping you alive for 80 years and only 80 years. And so it's something's, and that could be the blood. Could be blood related fucking. Anyway, so imagine them drawing the blood, wanting to draw the blood. And I'm just there wanting to interview the doctor. I don't even want to be at the doctor, so we got to deal with the imminent problem of how I don't want to be around doctors. And I don't want to be around people. And, that's a problem. If you don't want to be around someone, they're usually, their first step is figuring out how to make you want to be around them. And I guess that's where the money comes in. But the thing is the money for one visit isn't the same as getting drugs so I can comatose myself and continually do this stuff. Which I would assume that someone else somewhere understands that's been a requirement for 40 years, and that's why they started 40 years ago. That's it. To me, that's the red blue pill thing. Because when I was watching that one Matrix movie, my pills they gave me that comatose me, so I am not fucking nervous of going to the doctors, or scared for good fucking reasons, or worried I'm wasting my time for good fucking reasons. We're literally blue in that nation. And it's like falling back asleep. But taking the red pill, then I'm like, yeah, no, stay away. Fucking taking a pill to enhance my brain. I'm like, I don't think so. Fucking, I don't think we're gonna go to anyone to buy red pills either, bro. We ain't buying. You take the red pill and you realize that you're wasting your money, that you're jumping through a bunch of hoops and paying too much money for red pills, and then that makes you want to go take the blue pill, so you can forget that you're wasting your time and money buying blue pills, and it feels great anyways. You're like, yeah, I'm buying pills, yeah. Yeah, here's some money. I'm giving people money. Yeah, yeah. Giving people my blood. Yeah, here's my blood. This is so great. You take the red pill and you're like, oh shit. I just paid this motherfucker for some red pills and I'm going to need some more. Or else I don't get any red pills. Fuck it. We ain't getting no more red pills. That's what that shit feels like. Fucking. That's exactly what I thought when I seen that shit. Fucking. Especially when I'm in the theater and I'm taking my blue pills to, like, ignore the shit that I'm seeing, fucking, and been dealing with. And that's fucking happening and shit. It's like, yeah, well, if I take the blue pills, I can go get some more red pills. But then if I take the red pills, I'm not going to want to go buy any more red pills. And then if I run out of red pills, I'm going to feel I need some blue pills. Fucking. Technically, you can view it as the blue pills are sedatives, and the red pills are like amphetamine-like shit. Fucking. But then there's other pills too. Don't forget there's other pills. There's happy pills and there's fry your mind pills. Fucking. You don't need speed or depressants. Technically, I like the happy pills and shit. The happy pills make you happy and it doesn't fucking matter, and you're not gonna necessarily make bad decisions, and you're not gonna care if you do, and you're not necessarily gonna make good decisions, and you're not really gonna care if you do because you're gonna feel good either way. Fucking. And the blue pills just kind of sedate you. I think that's what that symbology is relating to. Is your speed and your downers. But there's psychedelics, and then there's happy pill. There's happy stuff too, and then there's total mind control drugs, which most people don't get, and you wouldn't know if you're on them because you're not in your body anymore. If you ever take them, you wouldn't really remember that time. Like how do I know I'm even going to sleep when I take this tizanidine? Supposedly some of the mind control drugs, fucking, you think you're asleep and you're walking around in your sleep type shit, doing what others say. I guess with roofies, they say that some of those girls woke up with like extremely bad head pain, so they went to the doctors and got checked. That's like a low-level mind control drug there. Fucking. That doesn't control the mind. That controls the body. It's technically there's nervous system drugs, and then there's mind control, nervous system control drugs, and shutdown drugs, and then mind control drugs. So. No, but you don't know none of those because they don't talk about none of this shit. No one, and if you start talking about like drugs to the wrong doctor, and they think you're a druggie, and it's like, well, I've been using drugs my whole life because you've been selling to me, sir. And like, am I the druggie or are you the druggie? Because you were 60 years old selling drugs to everyone when you first started selling me drugs at 8. And that's why you gotta shop around for doctors, because you can't even be honest with some of them and shit. You can't be like, well, this drug makes me feel good. I'd like some more of it. Like I told that was some Zoloft and stuff. Mexico was like, you gotta get a prescription for that, but here's some tramadol. It's like, what? How does that work? Just give me the Zoloft, moron. It's fucking far less addictive and far less dangerous than the tramadol. Fucking. And then over here, I'm like, yeah, let's get me back on some Zoloft. And they're like, oh, no, but your liver. It's like, well, maybe if we took a pill of Zoloft a day, we wouldn't we'd feel happy. It'd fry our brain. We'd forget everything. And we'd stop drinking fucking 2 liters of fucking moonshine a day to kill ourselves. You ever think about that? You ever think that 2 liters of moonshine is equal to 2 years of fucking Zoloft and shit? But no, no, no. I mean, see, it's like talking to a fucking wall, a spiked wall that's closing in on you. You gotta. Sometimes you ever heard that old people phrase? It's like talking to a wall. This is like talking to a spiked wall, and you're in a trap pit, and there's nowhere to go, and the walls are closing in on you and shit. You're like, stop moving, stop, fucking crazy. Crazy. So I didn't even get to meet the doctor. They want to draw my fucking blood and shit. And they did another day in hospital adventures and shit.